It is time for some NBA power rankings. So in today's video, I'm going to rank every NBA team before the playoffs, and that's what I'm going to do in today's video. But before I get into this video, a lot of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, so get your life together. Hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like on this video. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like, and let's go ahead and get to this video. And we are going to do this on Tier Maker, because I think that's going to be what's easiest instead of ranking teams 1 through 30. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and get into this video. We've got 6 different tiers. So the worst tier is out of the playoffs, bad team. It doesn't necessarily mean like every team that's out of the playoffs is going to be put in that tier, but quite a few that are out of the playoffs are going to be on that tier. Below average is pretty much like the D category. Average, maybe play in, C. First round exit is a B because you still make it to the playoffs. It's just you're probably most likely a first round exit. That means you're a 8th, 7th seed most likely. Conference finals maybe. And then you've got NBA finals contenders in my opinion. So that's what we're going to do. Starting off with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now they're 47-21 on the season, 29-9 in their conference, 10-2 in division, 27-7 at home, and 20-14 on the road. 4-2 in overtime, actually, which is an interesting stat, I guess. 8-2 in their last 10 on an 8-game winning streak. When Joel Embiid plays, these Sixers are a different team. And this Sixers team does have a little bit of playoff experience from last year in the bubble, and they have had some playoff experience. I think that the 76ers are in a good position to go very far this year, and I'm kind of debating against conference finals and NBA finals contenders. I think I'm going to put them in the NBA Finals contenders because I really do think they are an NBA Finals contender, especially if Joel Embiid can stay healthy. They're MVP of their team this year. Moving on to the Washington Wizards. Now, the Wizards are a very interesting team. They're currently in the 9th seed, 32-36, 15 games back of first place, which is unrealistic. It won't happen. So they would currently be in the play-in game, and currently they are 7-3 in their last 10 on a 2-game winning streak. They have been really, really good recently. 14-24 in their conference, though. 17-17 at home, and 15-19 on the road. So the Wizards are definitely kind of in that play-in team. Now, I think they are a team that's definitely interesting in that play-in. You've obviously got Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, but besides that, you don't have a lot like you have Denny Avdija, Roy Hachimura, but they don't have a lot of playoff experience. Russell Westbrook does have some playoff experience, getting a lot of first-round exits, obviously. But I think that they are, at best, a first-round exit. And I'm going to put them in average, maybe play-in. That's kind of how they played this year. Average, maybe play-in, I think, is probably where you should go for this team. Next is the Atlanta Hawks, who are 37-31 on the season, 21-18 in their conference, 5-5 in the last 10 on a 1-game losing streak. The Hawks are an interesting team. I don't think they're particularly going to go very far in the playoffs. None of their players really have a ton of experience in the playoffs, like their best players like Trae Young, John Collins. Don't really have a lot of experience in the playoffs, and that could be a cause for concern here. They currently are a 5th seed, which would mean if the NBA season ended today, then they would play the Knicks in the first round of the playoffs, which anything could happen. So I think the Hawks here are probably... I think they are probably a first round exit, maybe getting into the second round here with the Atlanta Hawks. Next is the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are on a 10-game losing streak right now. 0-10 in their last 10, obviously 21-46 right now, 14th seed in the East, and 12-22 in their conference. They're honestly kind of seems like they're tanking with 10 straight losses. So the Cleveland Cavaliers definitely go in that out of playoffs bad team. Like you probably expect to see some progression again next season from Darius Garland and Colin Sexton in the backcourt. They're going to get a high draft pick this year, which is probably going to be, if you're targeting for their top draft prospects, you're probably looking at Jonathan Kuminga or Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen would probably be good in that front court defensively and offensively. Moving on to the Detroit Pistons, they're clearly looking towards the future too, and they go in that same tier with the Cavaliers. So they're 15th in the Eastern Conference right now, 20-49 on the season, 10-8 in their last 10 on a 2-game losing streak. They're clearly tanking for Cade Cunningham. And yeah, moving on to the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Indiana Pacers are currently 10th in the Eastern Conference, 31-36 on the season, 5-5 in the last 10 on a 1-game losing streak, 12-21 at home, and 19-15 on the road. So they're better away from their home arena. This Pacers team is very interesting because right now they kind of place to where there may be a play-in team, but they're average. They really are just stuck in the middle average. They have Domantas Sabonis, TJ Warren, Malcolm Brogdon, but still, they are about as average as it gets. Next team is the Milwaukee Bucks, who are currently third in the Eastern Conference. 43-24 this season, 24-10 at home, and 19-14 on the road. 8-2 in the last 10 on a 5-game winning streak. So this is very interesting here. The Bucks, I think that they go in. I don't think they're NBA final contenders just yet, but I think they're definitely conference finals, possibly. Moving on to the next team, I'm going to go with the next team is the Toronto Raptors, who currently are 12th, 27-41 right now, 16-18 at home, and 11-23 on the road. They've pretty much played all road games this year, with them not being able to be in Toronto. 3-7 in the last 10 on the 3-game losing streak. They're another team that I think should definitely just tank for Cade Cunningham or Jalen Suggs or one of those players. But the Toronto Raptors have played below average this year. Next team is moving on to a Western Conference team. We have got the Dallas Mavericks, who are 40-28 on the season, 19-15 at home, and 21-13 on the road, 8-2 in their last 10 on a 4-game winning streak. So the Mavericks are a team that has a little bit of playoff experience from last year in the bubble, playing the LA Clippers. They did pretty well in that round. I think this is a team who right now is. They're going to be playing the Nuggets, which could be an interesting series. I don't think that they're a definite first-round exit, but I think they maybe are conference finals, maybe. Big maybe. Next, we move on to the Denver Nuggets, who, if the season ended right now, would be playing the Dallas Mavericks in the first round, but currently are the 4th seed in the West, already clinched a playoff spot, 44-24. They're just playing for seeding right now, which they're not going to get a top 2 seed, but could possibly pass the Clippers. They are 25-11 at home and 19-13 on the road, 6-4 in the last 10 on a 2-game losing streak. They don't have Jamal Murray, which a lot of people kind of ruled the Nuggets out after Jamal Murray, and I was after the Jamal Murray injury, and I was kind of one of those people. I think the Nuggets are a conference finals maybe. You've got Nikola Jokic, the MVP this year, the consensus MVP this year, and I think that they are definitely a conference finals maybe. Moving on next to the Memphis Grizzlies, who are currently 9th in the Western Conference, 34-33, and 14-18 at home, and 20-15 on the road. 5-5 in the last 10 on a 1-game winning streak. So the Grizzlies are kind of, once again, in that average tier. They have Ja Morant, but besides that, not a lot. They're the 9th seed. They'll be most likely in the playoff game or play-in game. There's pretty much no chance that they don't. So, yeah, moving on to the next team, Minnesota Timberwolves, who are currently number 13. They're out of the playoffs, 21-47. This year, 9-26 on the road and 12-21 at home, 6-4 in their last 10. They're playing some better basketball. The big debate with the Timberwolves is Anthony Edwards the Rookie of the Year, and that is a debate for another video. But the Timberwolves are, they played really bad, but they did have some injuries at the start of the season. I think the Timberwolves are below average. I'm not going to put them, just because they're out of the playoffs, very bad, but I still think that they are below average as of right now. Moving on to the San Antonio Spurs, who are currently 10th in the Western Conference, which I don't think a lot of people were expecting coming into the season. They are 13-20 at home and 19-15 on the road, 4-6 in the last 10 on a 1-game losing streak. The Spurs I kind of see as an average team, honestly. They do have a decent young core with DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, and more players. DeMar DeRozan's probably gone this offseason, and yeah. Moving on to the best team in the NBA right now as far as record goes, and that is the Utah Jazz. 50-18 on the year, 31-4 at home. They are great at home, and 19-14 on the road, 7-3 in their last 10, and on a 5-game winning streak. The Jazz are finals contenders. If they can play good in the playoffs, then they are definitely finals contenders. Play like they do in the regular season, and they are finals contenders. Moving on next to the Los Angeles Clippers, who are 45-23. 27-13 in their conference, 26-10 at home, 19-13 on the road, 6-4 in their last 10 on a 1-game losing streak. The Clippers have already clinched their playoff spot, but we're going to really have to see how Paul George does. If Paul George doesn't really do that great, then their conference finals maybe. But if Paul George does do well, then they are NBA Finals contenders, and I'm going to put them in NBA Finals contenders as of right now. You're going to have playoff Rondo too, which is just an added extra for this Los Angeles Clippers team. Moving on to the Phoenix Suns, who are 48-20 right now. They could possibly still get the first seed in the West. 6-4 in their last 10 on a 1-game losing streak, 26-9 at home, and 22-11 on the road. So the Suns are a team that I see as conference finals maybe. Yes, they are a high seed, but still, I think they are conference finals maybe. They don't have a ton of playoff experience. Obviously, you've got Chris Paul. I don't know if you really consider last year that much of playoff experience in the bubble. Yes, they went 8-0, but I don't really know if you consider that much of playoff experience. Moving on next to the Portland Trailblazers. The Trailblazers, I kind of see as a first-round exit at best. They're currently 6th in the Western Conference, 39-29, 20-18 in the conference, 18-16 at home, 21-13 on the road, and 7-3 in the last 10 on a 3-game winning streak. They have improved a little bit, but I still see them as a first-round exit, honestly. Especially if they play a team like the Clippers. I think they are an exit in the first round. Next team is the Sacramento Kings. Tyrese Halliburton's out for the season. They are currently the 12th seed, 30-38 on the season, 15-19 at home, and 15-19 on the road. 7-3 in their last 10 on a 1-game winning streak. The Kings are below average. They're not going to be in the play-in. They're below average right now. Next team is the New York Knicks. Now, they are super interesting. Probably the biggest surprise of this year, if we're being honest, is the New York Knicks and Julius Randle. But they're the 4th seed right now, 38-30. 23-17 in their conference, 22-11 at home, and 16-19 on the road. 7-3 in their last 10 on a 1-game winning streak. So the Knicks are a very, very interesting team. Not a ton of playoff experience on this team, but I still could see them being a conference finals maybe. Next is the New Orleans Pelicans. They have no chance of making the playoffs, I don't really think, especially with Zion Williamson being out. Yes, they're the 11th seed. They're 31-37 on the season, 18-17 at home, and 13-20 on the road. 6-4 in the last 10 on a 1-game winning streak. The thing is, the Pelicans, I don't really think have much of a chance at all. Even if they did get in the playoffs, which I would see highly surprising. They're below average even with Zion Williamson. Next is the Charlotte Hornets, and I'm not going to be too biased here. They're the 8th seed right now, 33-35, 20-20 in their conference, 18-16 at home, 15-19 on the road, 5-5 in their last 10 on a 1-game losing streak. So they're just 1 game ahead of the Washington Wizards after the loss last night to the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, I see the Hornets as probably this tier, like the B tier. Yeah. So next is the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are bad. They're 15th. They're tanking for Cade Cunningham, 16-52. 10-29 in their conference, 8-27 at home, and 8-25 on the road. 1-9 in the last 10. 5-game losing streak. They're starting to really turn tank mode on, and the Rockets are in that very, very bad tier. Next, moving on to the Miami Heat. The Heat are an interesting team. Tyler Hero has underperformed this year for the expectations coming into the season, considering that they were not even willing to trade him for James Harden. 37-31, they're the 6th seed right now, 20-15 at home, and 17-16 on the road. 7-3 in the last 10 on a 2-game winning streak. This team has playoff experience, which is not like the Knicks or anything. I think that the Heat are more in this conference finals maybe tier. Moving on next to the Chicago Bulls. I think this is pretty obvious where they are right now. They're play-in. Maybe the play-in. Maybe. So they're the 11th seed right now, 29-39 record right now. 13-20 at home against 16-19 on the road, 5-5 in the last 10 on a 3-game winning streak. There still is a possibility that they get into the play-in, but at best, if they do make the playoffs, then they are a first-round exit. Moving on next to the Brooklyn Nets, and the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets are finals contenders, I think. The Nets are currently the second seed. They've already clinched their playoff spot, 44-24, 3 games back of first place, which is not realistic at all. 25-8 at home and 19-16 on the road, so way better at home. 5-5 in the last 10 on a 1-game winning streak. They presumably right now will play the Celtics, which should be an interesting first-round matchup. Next is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're doing full tank mode right now. They are intentionally bad. They're 14th right now in the Western Conference, out of the playoffs, 21-48, 9-25 at home and 12-23 on the road, 1-9 in the last 10 on a 7-game losing streak. Clearly tank mode here. They are bad right now. Warriors are the next team, and the Warriors are currently the 8th seed, 35-33, 21-11 at home and 14-22 on the road, 6-4 in the last 10 on a 2-game winning streak. This team is heavily led by Steph Curry, and if Steph Curry was not on this team, they would be in this tier. But Steph Curry is on this team. They are average. It's not maybe a play-in for them. It's most likely that they are going to get a play-in, or they will be in the play-in. But they're still a first-round exit at best. Boston Celtics are the next team, who have been rather disappointing this season, being a 7th seed, 35-33 on the season, 21-14 at home and 14-19 on the road, 4-6 in the last 10 on a 2-game losing streak. The Celtics here, I think, probably go into the conference finals maybe because, yes, they are a 7th seed, but they still do have potential to be pretty good. Next is the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are in big, big trouble right now. They don't have LeBron James on the roster, obviously. He's injured, and they are in pretty big trouble right now. They're currently in the play-in game, 7th seed, 38-30, 19-15 at home and 19-15 on the road, 3-7 in the last 10 on a 1-game winning streak. And the way the Lakers are playing right now is below average. But we know how good the Lakers team is, and they are NBA Finals contenders at full strength. But I'm going to put them as conference finals maybe this year because I don't really know the health of this team. So they are really just a big question mark, which I probably should just create a question mark tier, if I'm being honest, because that's where the Lakers are. So the Lakers will move down to this question tier because you don't really know the health of this team. And if they are healthy, they are obviously NBA Finals contenders. Now moving on to the Orlando Magic. And the Magic are out of the playoffs. Not a very good team right now. They are they're 13th in the Eastern Conference, 21-47, 11-25 at home, and 10-22 on the road, 3-7 in their last 10 on a 3-game losing streak. It's clear here. The Magic are not a very good team. They're going to probably be looking towards like a Jonathan Kuminga in the draft, but this team has a great young core, especially with guards, with Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, R.J. Hampton. But they're probably looking more towards that forward, and if they could get Jonathan Kuminga, then they are really do have a very, very good young core. So yeah, those are the power rankings as of right now. Let me go ahead and go over them again. In our question mark tier, we have the Lakers. In the out of playoffs bad team tier, we have the Cavs, the Pistons, the Thunder, Rockets, and Magic. For below average, we have Raptors, Timberwolves, Kings, and Pelicans. For the average maybe play-in, we have got the Wizards, Pacers, Grizzlies, Spurs, Bulls, and Warriors. And first round exit is the Hawks, Trailblazers. And the conference finals maybe is the Bucks, Mavericks, Nuggets, Suns, Heat, Knicks, and Celtics. And NBA Finals contenders are the 76ers, Jazz, Nets, and Clippers. So yeah, that is the NBA Power Rankings before the playoffs edition. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications. Thank you for watching, and peace.